Mac Hollins breaking out the backpack kick dance at the, is that in fast forward or is that real time? At the Sixers game last night.
Yeah, there's only 2 times we saw this guy all season. One was at the parade, and then now we've seen him. He's a better backpack kid than he is a real wide receiver.
You're famous for this dance, though. Let's not bury the lead. This is one of the best moments we've ever had on the show.
Oh, no.
Come on.
No, that wasn't. I didn't have that one. I didn't have time to practice or nothing, so I was just messing around.
Oh, okay.
But the thing about it, anytime I move and it's on beat, you guys make me look good.
No, hold on.
And Jenna definitely can't dance.
Don't lump me in.
Do not lump me in with Nick.
Oh.
Do not lump me in with Nick. I've seen the way Nick moves around a little bit.
What?
Okay, at least I fake my way through the beat and I move.
Make your way through the beat. You're clapping on 1s and 3s instead of 2s and 4s.
At least I know what that is. That's like some.
Hold on, we're missing the point.
Yeah, we're off the point.
The whole idea was to get Cece to do the backpack dance.
Let's go.
Again. No, you guys can't dance. You guys can't dance.
Man,
I mean, for real, like.
What?
You guys make me look like Michael Jackson.
No, please. I will. Listen, I can't.
This one does.
What? You can't what?
I'm not going to allow myself.
Can you do the backpack kick? Can you do that?
I take a lot of flack on
right now, we can just remove all the rumors and
I'm not going to be peer pressured by you, sir.
Oh,
the point that
I'm making.
The point that I'm making is this: for you to lump me with my lovely friend, Jenna Wolf.
I resemble that.
Borderline defamation of character.
You should like to be on with Jenna. This is not one of them.
Exactly.
But as athletic as she is, dancing is not her thing. Dancing nor cooking.
You know how some people are tone deaf? Jenna is beat deaf.
Guys, okay. What's the bottom line? No one's dancing. Is that it?
Not.
I guess we're all moving on.
I'll do the backpack.
We gotta all go dance. Yeah,
no,
with you
Jenna,
too.
we've talked about this.
You're not gonna hang out with me socially?
No.
Is that what we talked about?
Man, I got street cred to live up to, man.
Jenna, I will hang out with you, and I'm getting all kind of cool points in the streets if I'm with Jenna Wolf.
I love you, Chris Carter. We didn't be on my corner.
Just got cool points to burn.
Time now for...
That's why he's allowed to do it.
That's for real. In my backpack.
Start your morning.
Take those 2.
Good news for Eagles fans. The team says Carson Wentz is ahead of schedule in his rehab. Wentz's target return date is week 1 of the season. Cece, how important is it for Wentz to be ready for that first week?
It's not paramount. You know, a quarterback can, Jenna, play without being 100%. It's different. He's an offensive lineman. He'd be able to start a little bit, too, because you put the knee braces on them. They're protected a little more. A skilled guy, a running back, wide receiver, tight end, you're going to be a little more erring on the side of caution as far as rushing them back because they do so many things laterally. As a quarterback, you can protect them. It's not paramount he's back, but there is enough time between the now and the injury for that is a real date. Sometimes NFL doctors, they don't give you a real date. Your injury date is always at the beginning of the start of the season. This time with Carson, it does match up.
And so the timelines match up for the Eagles. Obviously, this is great news. I know Cece's adamant about them not being interested in trading Nick Foles. I am less adamant about that.
Nick Foles just had the best year of his life. Everyone's trying to throw him off somewhere.
No, I'm trying to let him go try to see if he can be a starter somewhere.
Last time he was a starter, he almost quit.
It didn't work out. I understand that. He almost retired. I get that. I remember that. The point I'm making is this. The only way that's even possible is if Carson Wentz is fully healthy, and I'm keeping the dream alive for Nick Foles. Me and the Foles family. Gonna go get a team
people are going to hate you even more. You thought you were supposed to be getting back in good graces.
Not possible. Moving on to the Colts, Andrew Luck wasn't on the field last season, but owner Jim Irsay still thinks he's got a bright future. Irsay said Luck has, quote, he's, quote, got a full decade ahead of him of excellence. Cece, what are realistic expectations for Andrew Luck when he returns?
Now, Jim Irsay doesn't say a lot that I can quote or say, you know something, I believe he said something real smart there. Because if I took, look, if I was taking Luck in this year's draft, I would still take him first. The reason why, because I know he can throw. Now it's just a matter of an injury. These other guys, we don't know if they can throw. One guy is motion, one guy is too short. Right. The other one, how tough is he? You know, the other one's not accurate with the football. Andrew Luck, if he's healthy, we know he's a confident quarterback. Will they put the things around him? Will they finally have a running game? We know they're going to help him with that offensive line. So, yes, I'm with Irsay on this thing and this one thing only.
Well, and here's something, though, that where Jim Irsay, you brought this up earlier. I thought it was a great point. tracking his words. Remember when they drafted Andrew Luck?
Oh, yeah.
They were like, if he has the career Peyton had, it's
he's going to be better than Peyton.
He's going to be better than Peyton.
Yeah.
And if we only win one Super Bowl with him, what the hell were we doing? Well, now we're 8 years in. He's been to one conference championship game. He's missed a season due to injury. 7 years in, pardon me. And so now they're like, hey, let's have a decade of excellence. Let's just, and as far as this multiple Super Bowls thing, Irsay's maybe realizing how hard that is to get to accomplish, no matter who your quarterback is.
Yes, Jenna.
To college basketball, CC.
No matter who your quarterback.
Another season, another mass exodus for Kentucky. Coach Cal says he expects just about all of his players to go through the process and see where the committee sees them going. Nick, is it a good decision for players to go through this process?
Better decision than whatever the hell dance you're doing during that read, Jenna Wolf. Like you were celebrating.
This time she was going on 1-2
It was unbelievable. Listen, here's the deal. The NCAA doesn't get a lot of credit from me for a lot of things. I will give them credit for this. 2 years ago, they changed the rule.
Yes.
Used to be you could only go through this process twice. So once you test the waters once, if you test the waters again, you are in those waters. You're jumping in. Now you can do it every year if you want. Coach Cal, very transparent about his belief on this. Guys, test, find out, learn what the NBA thinks of you, learn what you need to improve on. If you want to come back great, we'll work with you on those things. So yeah, I think any player that is a potential even late second-round pick should test the waters just to see what people are saying about it.
Yeah, and afterwards, then as a coach, you use that as a training mechanism, as a teaching tool. Because Coach Cal talks to his players all the time, from the time he recruits them, the time he engages them, to the time they leave to go to the NBA and even into the NBA career, he talks about that overall development. So I think it's great to talk to the kids about it. I think it's great for them to get information. And then right afterwards, what elite coaches and elite trainers do, they do like a doctor. If you're going to see the doctor says, hey, man, you got problems. This is what you need to do. As a coach or trainer, you write a prescription for that guy. Hey, he doesn't finish well with his left hand. Hey, he needs to work on his jumper. He needs to work on his free throws. And then you add that as part of your basketball development. You really help the kid out. So the next year, you really have kind of a benchmark. These are the things they said about you last year. Did you improve on those things going forward? Right. I believe it helps the kid out.
Absolutely.
All right, finally, Markelle Fultz decided last night was going to be his night to get back on the court after his shoulder injury. The #1 overall pick played for the first time since October 23rd. He missed 68 games, seemingly forgot how to shoot. Scored 10 points and dished 8 assists, though, in a win over the Nuggets. Fultz spoke about his performance after the game.
It was a little bit of excitement and a little bit of just like, I got to help the team. Like, I don't want to let the team down. So, I mean, once I stepped on the floor, it felt great just to be back out there with my brothers and have fun.
All right, Nick, how optimistic are you after watching Fultz last night?
But before I even say how optimistic I am, I want to say this. I'm so happy for this young man. This would have been would have been a worse story than when we heard Ben Simmons is going to miss his whole rookie year with an injury. Like, we've seen Blake Griffin miss a rookie year with an injury. Yeah. But those made sense. Like, damn, the guy got hurt. I understand this started with an injury, but then these Zapruder-esque films of him shooting with some motion that looked like Jenna dancing. And it's
physical coupled with later it being mental.
Right.
That's a tremendous hurdle to be able to get over both of those.
And if he never comes back, and the team they've already hit their Vegas over for wins. They are going to be a favorite in the first round of the playoffs unless they fall down to the 6th seed. Like, to have that success without him being a part of it, I think that would have been very difficult for him mentally, and I think it would have been a tough summer for him. Now, how optimistic I am? And this kid was the one can't-miss guy of the draft, theoretically. He was such a clear-cut #1 going into the draft for the general public that LeVar Ball was saying the Lakers are going to get the #2 pick, and that's how they're going to take my son. Even LeVar wasn't like they're going to get the #1 pick and draft him, because LeVar knew if they got the #1 pick, they're going to take Markelle Fultz. And so just to see him out there, and he's going to be taking minutes from T.J. McConnell, who's not an NBA-level rotation player for the playoffs. Like, I think this is all good. I think anything you get from Markelle Fultz is a bonus at this point, and I'm so happy that the young man got out.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because in this business, you know, we develop an opinion, but at the beginning and end of the day, all three of us are huge sports fans. So up under a lot of our commentary is a cheerleader cheering for these people to be successful. Now, typically, we have to report on a lot of other things, so we can't sit around and have pom-poms and give them roses every day. But this was a great story. It was a great reception by the Philly crowd, receiving them into the game. But for me, this started a couple days ago when I watched the head coach, Brett Brown, do an interview, and someone asked him about Markelle's return, potential return. And, man, you just don't see this after a shoot-around. The coach got choked up. Like, you just don't see this in professional sports. So you know the amount of care and attention, like, this coach has put into this kid. And now to see it on top of Ben Simmons sitting out last year, on top of Joel Embiid sitting out part of the last couple years. Right. Now, this kid is in the same system. People make jokes, hashtag trust the process. Man, the process is working. The process, this coach buying into their analytics, buying into what the front office said, buying into what the training staff, and to see it come true last night, even if he never gets back his 22-foot jump shot, which he was in college from three-point range, he shot 41%. Yeah, right. Last night we saw him pulling up with confidence with a mid-range 15-footer. If he gets that range back a little bit, we're going to see why he was the #1 pick. Because you're talking about a guy who can go off the dribble. He can put pressure on point guards to penetrate in the lane. And the difference right now is he has that intermediate shot. And also, he has the ability to finish above the rim if he gets to the rim. So I like the fit also, his skill set, with the players that they have in Philadelphia.
And he's a good kid. He said last night after the game, he's like, I stepped out to the court and everyone was calling for Nick Foles, and then it turned out it was actually Fultz. They were saying Fultz. He's like, they were saying my name. Yeah. And he's like, it was so cool.
You remember, he's 19 years old.
He's 19 years old. You really root for him, and he's so athletic and fun to watch.
And for me, being drafted by Philadelphia, Nick, I'm sure the Eagles had just gotten taken over the year before by Buddy Ryan. They had the minister of defense, Reggie White. We had Randall Cunningham as our starting quarterback. And I used to go across the street from the vet and watch Julius Erving play for the 76ers. So, man, this is an exciting time to be in Philadelphia.
And listen, everyone that watches this show, even casually, knows I obviously think the Cavs are coming out of the East. But if you were to tell me the Cavs are not coming out of the East, I know for a fact. Like, I have a crystal ball. I know they're not. I would not pick Toronto. I would not pick Boston, even with if Kyrie comes back. I think Philadelphia is the biggest threat in the East.
Why?
Because, man, like, and this is...
It's kind of like before we picked out our bracket. Like, if you picked out a team that you thought could gain some traction. But this one, I mean, you got superstars compared to picking on kids and everything. You're saying before we even start the NBA tournament, man, watch out for Philadelphia.
Watch out for Philadelphia because their best player, Joel Embiid, is a guy there is no answer for. There is no team they're going to play in the playoffs that, like, we like our matchup at center.
Right.
And they are a team that since Christmas, I mean, think about how long ago Christmas seems it was, right? Since Christmas, third best record in the league. Third best defense in the league, second best point differential in the league, and they did, I think, just get at least marginally better with this kid taking
And when you say there's no
minutes.
answer for Joel Embiid, you have to realize he leads the NBA in post-up points. Now, when we get to the playoffs, what players can you say there's no answer for? In the East, there's only two players, LeBron James and Joel Embiid. In the West, there's only two players. That is James Harden, and that is Kevin Durant. Without Steph being, and even if Steph's healthy, there's answers for Steph's in the West.
Right.
Because there's Chris Paul.
There's Damian Lillard.
There's Damian Lillard. But that's how elite the level, I believe, that Joel, and the respect level Joel Embiid is getting around the NBA.
How does this Sixers team match up with the Cavs?
Man, this is the other thing I've said.
That's the team you didn't want to see.
I don't want to, listen, right now as the playoffs are, Cleveland's the 3 seed, Philly's the 4. Let's keep them just like that.
Right.
I feel really good about that.
Yeah, that's the one team you did not want them
That was
playing.
I've been adamant about this. Like, Philly can present problems for you. Philly's got a 6'10" point guard. They gave J.J. Redick that $22 million so he can just stand out and shoot. Not for that defense on the dunk we saw, but just stand out and shoot. They added Ersan Ilyasova. Saric is an intriguing player. Now all of a sudden, like, you also got to keep in mind, if you've been watching Philly, and you mentioned Philly fans not like me. Philly football fans might not. Philly basketball fans, I got you. It's the guy whose minutes he's going to take, T.J. McConnell, is shooting 0% from 3 this year. He's a 6-0 point guard. 0%.
Yes.
So is Ben Simmons, right? But Ben Simmons is 6'10" and doesn't shoot them. TJ shoots about 1 a game.
Right.
There
is no other small guard in the league that have those kind of numbers.
Right. And
so still in those minutes, what are you stealing? You're actually maybe gaining.
Right. And I should be, when I say he's shooting 0% from 3 the last month and a half. He's not you now have a guy that stretches the defense for you. Like, so Listen, Philly's a good team, and Philly is a good story, and Philly is a dangerous team in these Eastern Conference playoffs.
And it just became a better story now
Absolutely.
that Fultz is back in.
No doubt.
All right, take a break. Coming up, one more segment. Could the Giants really move on from Odell? Next on First Things First.
And then dance contest. Do your thing, Jenna.